righty, Drew. So a couple weeks ago, we did a video on the Ravens backfield, and it was a lot of question marks as to what this backfield would develop into. J.K. Dobbins had not yet returned yet. Mike Davis was lingering around. Kenyon Drake is out there. And a name that we talked about the least was Justice Hill. But a person that talked about Justice Hill more than we did was the head coach, John Harbaugh. He called him a star, or said he ran like a star in week 3. And no disputing it, because on 6 carries, Hill averaged 10 yards per carry. He had 6 carries for 60 yards. Impressive returns. And he did outsnap the returning Dobbins. So the exact snap count went as such. You had 48% in favor of Hill versus Dobbins, 43% of the snap count. Like I said, Mike Davis is still hanging around there. Kenyon Drake was actually deactivated. So that is a positive news if you are invested in the Dobbins sweepstakes. But should more people be invested in the Justice Hill sweepstakes?
I mean, with J.K. Dobbins coming back and Justice Hill averaging more snaps, I think then this week and maybe even next week, just because Dobbins is coming back from a big injury, you might see that split snap count between him and Justice Hill because, you obviously want to get a good, healthy running back running. And if Harbaugh likes him, quote unquote, being a star, after running 60 yards against the Patriots on 6 carries, who's to say he won't? He can do it again. Now, I'm not saying he will do it again. Obviously, I'm not projecting to be like, hey, go get Justice Hill because he's gonna get 6 more carries for another 60 yards. I'm not gonna say that, and we get hate comments at this point, but something to kind of glance at.
Well, he's
Like
2% rostered. So
yeah,
should he be owned more, I guess?
only again, it's one of those things where it'd probably only be like maybe this week and potentially next week because obviously once this week's over, it's JK is gonna obviously jump Justice Hill for the snaps and stuff
Is
like
it
that, and
obvious?
I think so. I think it's I
Coming
think it's
off
gonna
a
be.
major injury? You think obvious?
I think they go with the comfortability of J.K. Dobbins because
But
again,
how comfortable are they? I mean, they drafted him and he got hurt for them right away.
and that's fair, but I'm still gonna push the envelope that this is J.K.'s place to lose, even after a major injury. I think these are his snaps to lose, and I think they're going to give him and Justice this 50-50 split for, like I said, then about the next couple of weeks until they feel maybe JK is fully healthy to take the bigger load again.
See, unless JK just comes out like a world beater, which I don't think is going to be the case, I don't think
Oh
Justice
no,
Hill is going away. Well, if it's oh no, then I don't think Justice Hill is going away. I don't see why you would reduce Hill's carries or snaps if JK is not exactly blowing the doors off just because you drafted him. I don't think that's the case. I don't think that's how the Ravens operate. And if the guy's averaging 10 yards per carry, which is something that obviously he's not going to keep up, I think you just got to keep running him back there. And through the first 3 weeks, obviously the Ravens have been one of the most dynamic offenses in professional football. I mean, Lamar Jackson is doing exactly what you want him to do. He's got 12 touchdowns through 3 weeks. I think Justice Hill is going to have a role in this offense. Is it going to be something that you can use and replicate week to week on fantasy rosters? Probably not. And this is probably, again, where we're talking what that really means to you. 2%, he definitely needs to be owned more. That for me, that's a bottom line. And I think that he's got to be owned more moving forward because at best, or at worst, I should say, this turns into a 60-40 split. And I don't know how that 60-40 split's going to play out until we see J.K. Dobbins play more football. And if J.K. is below average or not really doing much, he averaged 3.3 yards per carry in his first week back. And that's unfair maybe to evaluate by his first week back, but I don't think unless he consistently is averaging 5-6 yards per carry down the stretch run, Justice Hill's going to be involved. And I think, too, moving beyond that, we also got to look ahead. Gus Edwards is coming back to this roster. Gus Edwards was out the first 4 weeks on PUP, training, practicing, getting back in there. I don't know what his role is going to be because Mike Davis, I mentioned him, only got a single carry, 1 carry last week. It was clearly all between Hill and Dobbins. I think we're looking at a 50-50 split. Might be closer to like a 40-40-20 split once we get a guy like Edwards back in there because Edwards is going to steal goal line touches. So this is not a backfield I love either way. I should emphasize. I don't think that this backfield is going to be one that you're going to be able to consistently count on fantasy points on a week-to-week basis. But I do think that Justice Hill is a problem for people that invested in J.K. Dobbins.
Yeah, and I don't disagree with that either. And that's why I mentioned, you take a look at him. I don't disagree that he should not be owned, but he should be owned more. Obviously, 2% is pretty low, especially for a guy who is getting carries right now. And, according to his performance, doing a lot with those carries.
I guess where we disagree is just like you say that you think that Dobbins is going to make him go away. I don't think that's going to be the case.
I don't think he's going to necessarily make him like disappear. Like, obviously, Justice Hill is going to get those touches for sure. I just think that, as time goes by, I think Dobbins overtakes the load a little bit more. And, with that 60-40 that you said, I think, JK gets the 60 and Justice Hill gets the 40.
Well, anyway, guys, if you have pieces of the Ravens backfield, let us know below in the comments section. We're trying to navigate this one ourselves. We probably just don't have enough data at this point. Short term, small sample size. We'll see if Justice Hill is able to keep up this star level production that John Harbaugh is praising him for. And we'll see who's the lead back is next week. But anyway, guys, if you have any and all questions, leave them below. We want to hear them. Leave a like on the video, helps the channel. Subscribe to the channel, helps the channel more. Follow us on social media. Stay safe, happy, and healthy. And we'll see you on the next one.